from the broadcast center in Medicine Hat. In high definition, this is Chat News.
Not nearly enough. Cypress County Council reacts to grant funding for ranchers affected by last year's wildfire. Heavy incentives south of the border. A look at what's being done to convince Methanex to expand here.
Dressed to the nines. The Medicine Hat Tigers, donned in black and orange plaid, raised nearly $50,000 for local charity. I'll have all the details coming up in sports.
Good evening and thank you very much for joining us. The provincial government announcing more help for ranchers and farmers affected by the devastating wildfires last October. But once again, Cypress County officials say the money won't go nearly far enough. Brittany Matika reports. And here now is your first look at Medicine Hat weather. And this shot is taken of the hospital. And what a beautiful day. Lots of sunshine. Temperature right now minus 12. Minus 18 though with the wind chill. It has been chilly today with winds right now out of the west at 11 kilometers per hour. We are expecting clear skies tonight. I'll have your complete accurate weather forecast coming up a little bit later on in the show. Well, the former member of the Medicine Hat College Rattlers basketball team arrested last year has had his charge dropped. Colin Ralco appearing in provincial court today. The charge of assault with a weapon he was facing was withdrawn. The 22-year-old, along with teammate Kieran Burgess, were arrested last November. An airsoft rifle was fired from a moving vehicle on North Railway Street, hitting a pedestrian. Burgess received an absolute discharge last month on the same charge, which will stay on his record for 1 year. Well, the trial for the man accused of impaired driving in a serious crash near Dunmore in 2015 has been delayed once again. Curtis Beisel's trial was expected to resume today, where the defense was scheduled to call witnesses. The case was pushed back a week after Beisel was unable to appear in court because his ride reportedly didn't make it from Saskatchewan. It's alleged the 56-year-old was going the wrong way down the Trans-Canada Highway when his vehicle collided with a van, seriously injuring 3 people, including a week-old infant. The trial is scheduled to resume next Monday. Well, major oil and gas companies here in southern Alberta say they're seeing the issues that railways can have on their operations. 2 major players saying they could face problems if sand used for fracking isn't able to get to drilling sites. It's an issue they've already faced this year, and they continue to look for alternatives to make sure operations don't slow down. And Ashley Weeb has been following the story and joins me now in studio. So Ashley, you spoke with 2 local companies today. What did they have to say about the possible shortage?
Well, Michael, they're not calling it a shortage.
And so, Ashley, what does this mean for local oil and gas companies moving forward?
Treadwell forward. Michael?
All right, Ashley, thanks for this. Ashley Weeb reporting live in studio. A pair of Medicine Hat firefighters spent 48 hours over the weekend camped out on the roof of fire station number 1. The 2 were braving the cold, raising money for muscular dystrophy. BJ Lang says during the 3-day event, they saw an overwhelming response from the community once again this year, raising almost $18,000. And Lang says they've already started planning next year's event. Well, the Sunshine Home and Garden Show brought thousands of people through the doors of the Cypress Center over the weekend. The spring trade show saw 11,000 people over the course of the 3-day event. Paula Stodolka with the Chamber of Commerce says they are very pleased with the response this year. She says they've also been receiving positive feedback from the close to 200 exhibitors that were at the show. And having spent part of Saturday at the trade show, it was great to talk to everyone who came up to the Chat TV booth and said hello and thank you for all your kind comments about the newscast. Well, that does it for our first look at what's happening in news today. And now here's Mitch with a look ahead to what's going on in sports. There's a new twist in Toronto's serial killer investigation tonight. Police say there is a 7th victim, but they don't know who he is. Well, now, in a rare move, they've released a post-mortem picture, and we want to warn you, it is disturbing. Catherine McDonald reports.
This is the disturbing.
Well, Methanex is one of the top economic drivers here in Medicine Hat, but the methanol giant could be choosing to expand south of the border. With construction expected to get underway in 2019, Methanex is looking at getting the best deal possible, which could be in Louisiana. But as Scott Rowland reports, the city of Medicine Hat isn't giving up without a fight.
Chat News.
Well, President Donald Trump is doubling down on his decision to slap steep tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. Taking to Twitter this morning, Trump wrote in part, "Tariffs will only come off if a new and fair NAFTA agreement is signed." He's appearing to leverage those duties as a bargaining chip in the NAFTA discussion. As the top exporter of steel and aluminum to the United States, Canada would be hit hard, and tens of thousands of jobs on both sides of the border could be at risk.
It is so very quickly.
And while the White House is pledging to have the details confirmed on the new tariffs by the end of the week, some manufacturers here in Alberta are watching the situation very closely. Tom Burton has a look at the impact on our province if the tariffs are put in place.
Global News.
And we're getting a clear picture tonight of the Trump administration's inaction when it comes to stopping Russian interference in U.S. elections. The New York Times reporting the State Department hasn't spent a cent of the massive budget it was allocated to counter Moscow's meddling, even though, as Jackson Proskow reports, every U.S. intelligence agency has warned the Russians are still at it.
So serious election.
Some shocking video from Brooklyn, New York, where a house fire led to a partial roof collapse. Several firefighters were at the front door of the burning house when a torched facade came crashing down on them. 4 firefighters were hurt. 3 of them had to be taken to hospital. The good news is they're going to be all right. The fire was put out without anyone else suffering any injuries. Well, finally, a trickle of relief has been allowed into the Syrian neighborhood that the United Nations has described as hell on earth. A convoy got into eastern Ghouta today, carrying food and supplies for the tens of thousands of residents there. But the World Health Organization says the Syrian government stripped the trucks of some desperately needed medical aid. And as the convoy drove into the city, the shelling continued. Redmond Shannon reports. Well, the dollar having a bit of a rough day, off a half a cent to 77.06 cents U.S., with the TSX having a good day in Toronto, up 156 points to 15,541. The Dow having a monster day. It was up 336 basis points in New York to 24,874. Gold off $3.50. It closed at $1,319.90 U.S. per ounce. Natural gas up a penny. Oil having a good day, up $1.32. It closed at $62.57 U.S. per barrel. And Mitch joins us on the desk. Happy Monday. Mm-hmm. What a great night at the Canalta Center on Saturday.
Yeah, and for once, you made it out to a Tigers game.
True.
Yes.
True. Busted. Yep. I did, and I enjoyed it, and it was a great crowd.
Right.
Good game. The Tigers came out and really took it to Red Deer. But man, what a response to the jerseys.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, well, for good reason, because of course it was a great night on the ice, but off the ice as well for a number of different reasons. So
we sat right next to Darren Lutz, who was doing all the auctions with the jerseys, and it was exciting. I think the crowd was into it too during the intermission.
Totally.
Very cool.
Scott will have a story on that here shortly, and of course, Tigers fans made sure Saturday night was.
Well, there are many things you can experience using virtual reality. When it comes to technology and when it was created, it was seen as part of a gaming and tourism industries. But Canadian researchers have just completed a groundbreaking study testing the merits of virtual reality for seniors with dementia. And as Mike Drolet explains, so far the results have been out of this world.
Children in there as well.
This
Chat Weather, powered by AccuWeather.
And before we get to our weather, people in Saskatchewan and Manitoba are digging out from a record snowstorm. If that's not enough, more bad news is on the way. 20 centimeters of snow fell in Regina by 7 o'clock this morning, smashing a record dating back to 1999. At least 10,000 people in Manitoba had their power knocked out. Treacherous conditions also leading to the closure of several highways in both provinces. And good news for us, we missed most of that snowstorm that hit southern Alberta. We've actually got a nice weekend, and today some more nice weather. It was cold though, lots of sunshine. Minus 11 is a high, minus 17 are expected low later on tonight. New normal temperature to tell you about. Well, the new normal high is 3 degrees. We're not going to get there till the weekend, but the good news is we will get there. Record high coming in 1905, 19 degrees. Sun rose this morning at 6:58, and it's going to set at 6:12. And let's take a look at the current conditions. And yeah, good news. Mostly sunny, but chilly, minus 12 degrees. You can see winds out of the southwest at 13 kilometers per hour. The real feel, more like minus 18. That was more like minus 23. this morning. As far as the rest of the province is concerned, fairly similar. You can see not a lot of temperature differential between Drumheller, Brooks, and Bow Island. You can see it's cloudy in Lethbridge, 10 below in Calgary, minus 10 in Edmonton as well. And on into Saskatchewan, well, there we go. It is snowing in Regina. More on that in just a moment. It's snowing in Saskatoon actually just stopped, minus 11. A little bit of snow in, all the way to Swift Current. Mix of sun and cloud in Leader, minus 9. Same with Maple Creek. Now, as far as we're concerned, really nothing to tell you about as far as southern Alberta goes, but that's where we're keeping an eye on. And again, more snow on the way. There is a snowfall warning and winter warnings for, well, most of eastern Saskatchewan and most of western Manitoba. Taking a look at the rest of the country, minus 1 and cloudy in St. John's. It's 0 and clear in the nation's capital. Plus 1 in Winnipeg. A little bit of rain/snow sleet. Minus 6 in Fort McMurray. On into British Columbia, it's minus 1 and cloudy in Kelowna. Cloudy and 6 in Vancouver. And a little bit of sunshine, not much, in Victoria. 6 degrees there. The future cast, we're looking at some clear skies as far as the next couple of days, but with this high pressure system moving in, that's going to bring the lows down into, well, the minus 20s. It's going to make for a cold day tomorrow and then some lows again, minus 15 on Wednesday. Brooks, you're looking, there you are, mostly clear but cold in the morning. It's going to warm up to minus 10 over the noon hour. Mostly sunny for you. You're not going to get much warmer than minus 10. Leader, you're looking at mostly clear and cold in the morning as well. Mostly sunny for rest of the afternoon. And temperatures down to minus 11 over the noon hour. Maple Creek, you're clear and minus 16, so not quite as cold as, say, Brooks, but lots of sunshine for you. You're going to warm up to plus or minus 8 over the noon hour, and it doesn't really get too much colder, minus 9 right around dinner time. And here in Medicine Hat, we're looking at clear and minus 17 in the morning. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, a relative temperature of minus 10. That's going to be close to what our high is, and then some clear skies tomorrow night as well. All right, stay tuned. Coming up after the break, I'll have more international news.
Chatnewstoday.ca.
Here's some international stories making headlines today. Officials in South Korea have met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for the first time since the young leader took office. Top aides to South Korea's president traveled to Pyongyang for a meeting to discuss talks between the North and the United States. Well, relations between the Koreans have been warming since the two countries marched together under a single flag at the Olympics. As for the U.S., it says it'll meet North Korea if it gets rid of its nuclear weapons, a precondition the North calls preposterous. Italian election results showing no clear winner. The country now faces what's expected to be a prolonged period of political instability. Early indications show voters left traditional powers behind. Instead, they flocked to anti-establishment and far-right parties in record numbers. No faction won a clear majority in yesterday's votes, but two rival leaders are claiming victory. The center-left coalition that has governed since 2013 came in a distant third, prompting the party's leader to resign today. There's another intriguing story involving spies in the United Kingdom. This one involves a former Russian military officer, Sergei Skripal. Skripal was convicted in 2006 by a Russian court. He was found guilty of spying for the British government. Tonight, he's fighting for his life. An air ambulance had to be called into the British town of Salisbury to ferry Skripal and one other person to hospital. Both are in critical condition after being exposed to a highly noxious substance thought to be fentanyl. Hazmat crews had to close off a number of areas in the town, although they did emphasize there was no wider risk to the general public. A group of people with disabilities are facing their fears by taking up scuba diving. It's the first time in 2 years since this type of event was held in Edmonton. As Kim Smith explains, organizers are hoping it will help break down barriers.
Very nervous.
And Mitch joins us on the desk for a look at what's trending. Are you a fan of the Oscars?
I watched them last night.
Did you? What'd you think?
Interesting. I don't know. There's so much hit and glam and whatever about them. Not for me, but I kind of I find an interest in, finding all the movies that I haven't ever seen that eventually win, Best Picture and that sort of thing. So
the thing I like about it is the neat thing about the Oscars is at the end there's a list and you're done. You don't have to watch it. There's just the list and you know what happened.
Right.
I'm not a real fan of all the politics. So, Canadian J. Miles Dale taking home the top prize at the 90th Academy Awards last night. That's because The Shape of Water garnered 4 Oscars, including Best Director and Best picture.
Okay.
The Shape of Water.
There you heard it there, and well, Gary Oldman walked away with Best Actor for his portrayal of Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour. I'd like to see that, actually.
I think that they were just talking Shape of Water there. But
No,
yes, you're right. Gary Oldman did walk away with Best Actor.
Yeah.
First ever.
Yeah. Frances McDormand won Best Actress for Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which I'd also like to see. And Jordan Peele became the first black writer to win Best Original Screenplay for Get Out.
Yeah, I hear that Get Out is good.
Yeah, and Kobe Bryant winning one as well. So he won an Oscar, and they were, well, they were saying Kobe Bryant. Sorry, go ahead.
I turned it on last night, and they got a bunch of celebrities, high-class celebrities, to come together and then go right next door to a movie that was playing in a theater.
Oh, really?
And they shot hot dogs out of a can.
Yeah, it sounds random.
What do you do? It's
do
the
you do?
Oscars. When? In Hollywood, right? Okay, well, coming up after the break, The Briar is officially underway.
Yes.
The Canadian national men's curling, and Kui's face says it all.
What's it ever?
9-2.
Wow.
Alberta improves to 1-1 following
It's been a
last night's
weird
action.
year for top flight curling.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's weird to see the Bandits in second place. It's not something you ever get used to.
Well, I know. Me and Scott, we were talking about this. Okotoks is on a whole other level. Okotoks is doing what the Brooks Bands have done so many times before. So it's going to be really interesting come the South Final, which a lot of people anticipate will be the Okotoks Oilers and the Brooks Bandits.
Good stuff. And you were saying they broke a 30-year record last week against the Calgary had.
That's right. That's right. That was 22 in a row. Or 24 wins in a row.
Yeah.
That's right.
And congratulations to the Lady Rattlers. How cool is that?
Yeah. Yep, I'll be speaking with Clayton Nielsen tomorrow night at practice, and very exciting, especially for the seniors who are playing their final year for the Rattlers. So a very exciting trip coming up indeed.
Are you going to go with them and do a live like you did with the volley?
I could. I wish I could. If the station will jump up the change, I'll pitch half.
There you go.
We'll see.
There you go.
I should just kind of put my foot in my mouth right there.
Let's take a look at the 7 day before we head out of here. You can see sunshine tomorrow, fairly similar to what it was today, a high of -8, low down to -15. And again, it warms up a little bit on Wednesday. Still sunshine, but low down to -15. Cloudy on Thursday, but we are starting a bit of a warming trend. And look at that, Saturday, finally, we reached the freezing mark, and +3. There are some reports that say +7, +8 on Sunday, Monday. So good news there, mostly sunny for those days, mostly cloudy on Wednesday of next year, Tuesday rather, of next week. That's all the time we have, Wednesday of next year.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at noon.
Have a good night.
Good night.